This is a time of the year in which you have to prepare for your seminar and then subsequently your projects. So I know most of you are busy. You are, kind of bombarded with lots of academic activities and or whatnot. And now it comes to the time where you have to choose your seminar topic. Mind you, this is a technical presentation. So because of that, I thought of fine, I should share my thoughts with you, right? And as I always do, see, we're gonna go through this in such a way. I promise to make it as brief and as honest and as simple as possible. So we look at what it is actually and why that, and then how do you present that, and we jump directly into case studies, all right? And then conclusions and obviously references, right? So one thing I want to say here is this, okay? This reflects my idea. So don't think that this is a de facto standard, okay? Or it's a kind of a generic view, okay? I kind of giving you a generic view of how you actually go about choosing your seminar topics. So this kind of is an impromptu presentation because I thought fine, instead of wasting time, talking to so many of you, sorry, I beg your pardon, is not wasting time. Instead of spending a number of times talking to people and again you come back, why don't I make a video, okay? And then based on the comments and the feedback which I receive, then I will see how I can actually optimize that or fine tune that. So having said that, let's dive straight into this, okay? So you have seen here, when we talk of seminar, you actually have someone who is standing there, basically, right? So you will see somebody standing and then he's actually addressing the audience, right? So the audience might be, in this case, we are talking about your colleagues, your peers. It can be anything, anybody, right? So looking at the audience here, you are the key player. So this is the main person here, right? And these are other people that are seated there. And yeah, invariably, I don't know why this guy is standing, but anyway. So if you look at all this, something stands out, okay? What is it? That there will be a presenter, there will be a presenter. So these, and then these are the audience, right? These are the audience. And then why don't we define this? So by way of explanation, so you can actually call this, it's a kind of an academic instruction, okay? So can we actually define this? So let's get here, okay? So what is a technical seminar? What is it? So yeah, my writing is very nice. I don't know what to do, but anyway, just follow along, okay? What is this? So I'm going to just highlight some keywords here. So it's a form of what? Academic instruction, okay? So either at an institutional level or even at a professional level, which has the function of bringing in what kind of small group of people together, okay? That will actually deliberate. Now, remember, whenever we talk about seminar, it's not a one-way affair. So it's not a monologue. So, but I've seen most of you either not participating or not paying full attention. So it should be a two-way approach, okay? So it should be a dialogue in which at the end of the day, you should give room for people to ask questions, right? They should ask questions and don't pretend, even if you don't understand, if you don't have an answer to that question, honestly reply, right? And say, okay, fine, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe in the subsequent things, I will look into that. So having said that, how do you actually define this? So let's check this now. And so we can give a simple definition. And if you want to write down something, fine, that will make sense now. So it is a kind of a form of academic instruction. So see the points here, academic instruction. Yeah. Okay. Now, which is aimed at some small groups of people focusing what? Their energy and attention on a particular topic. So this is often accomplished as an ongoing Socratic dialogue. So Socratic dialogue. Yeah, dialogue. Fine. Now, in this dialogue, what happens here with a seminar leader? Okay. So there will be a seminar leader. Yes. Can we call him an instructor? Yeah, he's an instructor. Okay. So who is actually presenting his what? Formal research. So definitely, when you talk about this, you must have done a formal research or a background research into whatever you're going to talk about. So it's essentially what? A place where assigned readings are discussed. So let me now summarize this. In summary, what is this technical seminar now? Yes, it's a place where you do what? where you do what? Yeah, you discuss ideas, discussion of ideas. Yes. Then questions will be raised, addressed. Yes. And then debates also can be constructed. Can be constructed. So it is an important, or can I say is an integral part of your engineering curriculum along with your project. Fine. So hence a technical presentation on a seminar topic will help you as a student to understand the topic well and also gain meaningful insight, right, about the topic by doing what you call what? Your background research. So you must have done what you call your literature survey, right? Literature survey. You must have done that. So this is your background research. Okay. And now students can actually improve their communication skills. So if you see here, the aim is actually, so this is aimed at improving what? Your what? You said that now? Improving your presentation skills. Yes? Presentation skills. So having said this now, can we actually look at when and how do you make presentation, right? So before you actually think of your presentations, right, or you actually should decide on certain things. So can we actually call it now? Okay, when do you make presentation? Anybody? And how do you actually do that? Do we have a laid out approaches? Okay, so now you know what it is, right? So this is done. You know what it is. Okay, so when do you do this actually? So let's take, for instance, you want to tell me about Neuralink. But I believe most of you know what Neuralink is. Okay, 1 minute. Let me change the highlighter. I think that doesn't work perfectly. So Neuralink is this startup by Elon Musk, right? Okay, or the Tesla bus. Okay, so I don't know much about it, and you as a student, you want to educate me on Neuralink. So kind of an interface, yes, an interface between what? Human brain and some maybe like some devices, right? So in which you have a kind of an intelligence implanted into you in form of a chip, a tiny silicon chip or something like that. So you actually want to tell me that these are the dangers, right, of having a brain implant. Okay, so that is the time in which you can actually talk about this. So when do you talk about this? So you want to educate me. So let's put here, you want actually to educate the audience on silent issues. Yes. Why are we taking Neuralink? How about this COVID era, right? So we want to talk about the dangers of not taking the medication. Okay. Dangers of avoiding the co-vaccine. Yes. Whatever. I think that is what it's called. So you want to encourage us to actually take the vaccine, okay? And kind of boost our immune system or something like that. So once you have decided on that now, so how do you actually present this? So when you talk of the how, there is no direct method, okay? There is no standard method. That should be the word. There is no standard approach to making a technical presentation. Nevertheless, there are some tips. Please, I will repeat again. So whenever you talk about technical seminar or technical seminar presentation, there is no de facto standard on how you go about it. Okay. So first thing is this, you need some essential tips, right? On how you choose the topic that interests you and thereabout going about the presentation. So having said that, let's look at the what? The tips. So permit me to write something now. So we call it tips on choosing what? A winning presentation. Now, in this case, I'm talking about technical presentation, a technical seminar. Technical seminar. Okay, I'll use them for short. Fine. Now, what are the tips? So if you notice here, we get into the demo for you to have a proper understanding of that. But first and foremost, whenever you talk about this, okay, So you should think of certain things. So can I start here and then I'll continue there, right? So what are the tips? So let's start with the first one, the essential tips. Fine. So whenever you talk about this, you should actually choose a topic, first thing, that has societal influence. So let's say choose a topic of what? Societal influence. I can't stress on this enough. So let's think of some things here, okay? If you want to talk about effects and implications of what? COVID in third world countries. Yes? So people will be willing to listen to you, right? Because this is a pandemic which nobody prepared for. COVID-19. Yes? Originated in Wuhan. I don't want you to start telling me about COVID-19. What are you going to talk about COVID-19? We've heard of it over and over and over again, right? Rather, you can choose something that might actually influence or contribute meaningfully to the research that has been done by eminent scholars also in this regard. So the topic might look like this: effects and implications of COVID-19 on third world countries, versus when you are talking about COVID-19 diagnosis using machine learning. Did you get that? I'll repeat again. So when you choose a topic of societal influence, that topic should not be generic. We don't want a general topic. We don't want a general topic. Example, COVID-19 detection using machine learning. Detection using machine learning. This is generic, right? And you're going to be bombarded with lots and lots of, research papers and things out there, that there is nothing novel in this. Instead, we might actually narrow this down and look at what effects and implications of what COVID-19 on third world economies, something like that. Now, the next point here might be, these are the tips, right? So another tip here might be, okay, let me call it the second tip here. You have to choose some case studies. I can't stress on this enough. Case studies, this you have to consult your guide. Consult your guide, okay? Or reference materials. Reference materials. So you might say, okay, sir, how do I come up with the case study, right? So it's a common practice that, see, your guide might ask you to choose a topic that is trending or unique. Oh, trending. Who doesn't know that COVID-19 is trending? And you want to talk on something that is trending. Now, this will make it hard for you, and you end up selecting topics that might have less materials, okay, that are available in the public domain. Now, in order to avoid this scenario, you have to choose topics which are unique, but for which materials are available. So if you have chosen something and you don't have reference materials, mind you, you are not Albert Einstein, okay? So even if you are, we need proof, okay? We don't want you to talk from your own experience, because I don't want us to bias the research community, right? So if this topic is not researchable, it must be researchable. Must be researchable. So that means there must be other researchers, okay, or research papers or whatever, research scholars that have done something similar to this. So if you don't know where to start, obviously a simple Google search will help you, right? So you might use your Google Scholar, okay? You can actually use your IEEE, obviously, journals, fine, because I believe, see, most engineers know this is an IEEE paper and all whatnot, fine? So whenever you've chosen this now, so you try to look at the paper itself, right? With key insights on the analysis of various what? Trends in that field. Now, we talk of hot topics, right? Yes? Hot topics. You see, I will give you instances, okay? So one of you came to me and was like, no, sir, I want to talk about what he said actually. I want to talk about Bitcoin. Okay? Fine. Bitcoin is a hot topic, but is it not vague? You're going to talk about Bitcoin. What exactly are you going to tell me about Bitcoin? Fine. We will get into the stuff and I will show you samples, okay, of some seminar topics that are trending, that are, you see them online, but they're actually of no use actually, because they are kind of either too generic, okay, or they are not substantial enough. So for you to get these ideas, right, case studies, okay, for you to get ideas into this, it's needful you listen to podcasts, right? Yes. Or you can even attend conferences, and don't tell me, Cesar, I don't know where to go. See, there are lots of conferences online, right? You attend conferences. Now they call them now what? Webinar, right? Yes. So, and you can enroll. Thanks to this COVID thing, now we have various platforms in which you can actually enroll. Okay. So attend conferences, workshops, listen to technology news. I mean, read articles on future stuff. So I believe most of you must know about Medium, right? Towards Data Science Central, something like that. So they don't talk only about data science and machine learning. No, they discuss other things also. Towards Data Science, I use DS Central. Yes. How about your KD Nuggets? Okay. Okay. So, and there are lots of them actually. Okay. So Medium, virtually you I believe you must have heard of it. Okay. Etc. So here you see people will actually give an idea, and with an implementation of that also in Python majorly and in R. Right. So I can't stress more on this. So let's get to the next point. So the next point you might think of considering is you should actually choose topics that are very, very focused. Okay. Now, so let's look at this. You have to choose topics that are very focused. Choose very focused topics. Right. Okay. Point is choose very focused topic, right? Choose very focused topic. So this is similar to what I just explained. So it's a common mistake here that, many presenters, you choose topics which has a wide range of focus. Example, Bitcoin, okay, versus challenges and implications of cryptocurrency. So which one do you think is focused? Obviously, you see Bitcoin is broad. Yes. And this now, I'm going to talk about the challenges and implications. Sorry, I wrote PLI. Implications of cryptocurrency. This is focused. You can agree enough, right? So now this will lead to, when you choose topics that are, so broad, it will lead to vague presentation without having an in-depth information about each content, right? So when questions are asked on that topic, example, if I ask you now, how many algorithms are there in Bitcoin? Okay. Or how do you mine Bitcoin? Okay, can you tell me about Bitcoin mining? You wouldn't know, right? Because maybe you want to talk about Bitcoin, but you ended up talking about maybe challenges of Bitcoin, okay? Okay, or as acceptability of Bitcoin. But you have given me that broader perspective that you're going to talk about Bitcoin. So if I ask you questions, it will be difficult for you to answer them. So in order to avoid this scenario, you have to choose topics that are very focused. Select a particular topic in an area and explain that very, very well. Make sure that your topic is not too technical. Now, you might say, Cesar, it is called technical seminar. Okay, I agree. It's called technical seminar. But my intention here is this. If you start bombarding us with maths, okay, who is going to listen to you? Tell me. I will doze off. If you start explaining algorithms, do you think it will be engaging? I will doze off. If you make it, if you start talking of theory, lots of theory, more theory, obviously I will not listen to you. So, in the sense, I want you to use infographics. Use of tables, charts, yes, images also. If possible, why not video? Obviously, etc. Okay, so this will make it actually engaging. Yes, so I'm actually clubbing two things together now. Choose topics that are focused, and fourth point, use of infographics. Yes, fine. So that the audience, it will captivate their attention. It will capture their attention. Capture attention. Because nobody, remember one thing, in every seminar, even if it's a 10-minute seminar, people will remember the introduction, what you said initially, and the conclusion, if they actually want to listen to you. In between is okay, parwagala, okay. Yes? So to ensure this, at the end of the day, you reiterate the facts. Reiterate. Okay? Okay, kind of summarize before you conclude. Okay? You reiterate the facts and tell them that, okay, fine, this was all we did and all whatnot, right? Hence, and that will make sense if you have lots of images, okay, to actually convey what you are doing. Now, when we talk about this, it's good to know the audience. So that might lead us to the next point here. Okay, sorry, before I get to the case studies. So let's get to this, okay? So know your audience, right? Now we can't stress on this enough. Since it is a technical seminar that involves academic presentation, so you should ensure that you select topics that should excite us, okay? So topics that should excite your guide. Because if your guide is not excited, obviously your guide will not approve it. Yes? Fine. And not only that, and you should be able to defend your points also. Defend your arguments. Your arguments. See, whatever you've said, okay, are you able to defend it? So that when you are presenting it, we should feel that, yes, attending this seminar will help me improve my knowledge on a particular topic. And using this, during your seminar presentation, you should use what? Use real what? Real life examples to back your idea. Your idea. Before I forget, let me give you an example. So I want to talk about medical imaging. In this case, medical imaging is a big word, right? So let me bring it down to medical image segmentation. So I'm going to look at segmentation. Again, it's still broad, right? Because remember, I want to use real life examples in this. So let me look at this. Pulmonary, okay? Segmentation, okay, let me not call it this. Let me call it chest x-ray, CXR, chest x-ray for segmentation. Okay, chest x-ray for segmentation of pulmonary diseases. So if I'm going to talk about this, that means I need to first thing give you a chest x-ray. Yes, chest x-ray. Now you have the lobe and things like that. Now segmenting this, I need actually to identify some regions of interest. Yes. Now, and I can actually go a little step further. Instead of using chest x-ray, I will use CT scans, which gives me a volumetric idea or a volumetric view. So a volumetric view of what? The ailment that this person might be having. So first, I will start with an x-ray. Yes, obviously, there are lots of x-ray images that are available free of cost. Okay. Then, and I will show you how it looks like. I will show you what the radiology needs to know. So radiological calibrations. Radiological calibrations. Okay. So I don't want to call calibration now, but it might look like something here differently. So what does the radiology want to know by looking at this chest x-ray? Now, if the radiologist says that, okay, fine, this is a normal, so I might show you some things here, normal versus abnormal, So when you look at this now, a radiologist will be able to tell this is a normal x-ray because he has this, and this is an abnormal one because it's like that. Now, since it's a technical seminar, I will look into the algorithms. Obviously, I'm going to talk about deep learning algorithms for what? Now, you see the topic has moved from medical imaging, yes, to medical image segmentation, yes, on pulmonary thing, and to chest x-ray for segmentation of pulmonary disease, and now deep learning approaches to what? Segmentation of pulmonary diseases from chest x-rays. I'll repeat again. It has now moved to these deep learning algorithms for the segmentation of what? Pulmonary diseases from chest x-rays, right? Now, the audience will be excited to listen to you. Oh, wow, you are not a doctor. How are you able to identify that? Say, example, there is edema, there is pneumonia, there is pneumothorax, there is COVID, there is whatever tuberculosis and all whatnot, all kinds of families of diseases. But you are not a medical, you are not what do you call them? A pulmonologist. Neither are you a radiologist. You never had a background in medicine. So how exactly? So they'll be more engaged in the thing. Okay. So you use infographics, use some stuff, run some models. Okay. Use real life examples. There are lots of notebooks out there in which you can use to buttress or drive home your point. Okay. Now, having said that, let's look at few points and then we jump straight into the demo section, right? Just stick with me for some time. Now, right. So the next point will be, I have seen most of you fumble when you make your presentations, right? So, sir, what do you mean by fumbling? Right. Okay, I've even lost control of what I'm saying. 1 minute. So before we get to this, essential tips. So, so before which point are we? Okay, let's say 0.6 or 0.7. I think it should be 0.6, okay, or 7, anything, anyway. Now, these are essential tips. So you should rehearse. I can't stress on this enough. Rehearse, rehearse, and rehearse. I wrote rehearse. You see, this is what happens when you actually do this. Rehearse. Okay. Now, usually try to, try speaking to yourself, okay, or speaking in front of a mirror. Now, whenever you present, we listen to we pay attention to your body language. It's very easy for me to know whether you are trying to fake something versus when you are being real. Okay. So this is not going to be a virtual webinar. You have to present this in front of us. Try not to mess things up. Okay. Don't mess up things. Okay. This often happens due to, lack of, what do you call it? Personal rehearsal. Okay. And maybe you don't have that, that conviction in yourself that you have studied enough. Okay. So if you don't master your presentation very well, it will kind of, you're going to mess up the whole thing. So it's better you analyze your strengths and weaknesses. If you're going to fumble in between, better take a recorded clip of that, and when you play it back, then you're like, okay, fine, this was what I'm not supposed to say this, and only say things which you are sure of. And during rehearsals, try to use appropriate words. Yes, don't make it too grammatical, right? Use simple words to convey meanings, right? Okay. So yes, and then at the end, when you actually go back to play this, then you might actually find ways in which you can fine-tune your presentation. Okay. Now, one thing that might help you, okay, is you making short notes on each slide. Make short notes. Now, on each slide. Now, here we might not allow you to start reading because I've seen it a couple of times. When students come, they will just read the slide for us. Yes. So try to master your slide. Better use the word master your presentation. So you have some points which you have put out there. It is our duty to go through the points. Yes. So you know that you can't incorporate everything you are going to discuss into one slide. Yes. So only the major points we want. And again, the essence of this video is just to tell you that, guys, I don't want your slides to be cluttered, because this is going to happen. So many points, lots of info. Instead, information. Instead, do one thing, use bullets, itemize them. Itemize the points. Okay? And then during your presentation, you elaborate. Don't put everything together in one slide. And don't make the slide lengthy again. We are not going to stay here for long. So your presentation should last maximum of 10 minutes. Even some people present their PhD thesis also in 15 and 20 minutes. So 10 minutes, I think, should be more than sufficient for you to convey your idea. So make notes, excuse me, use bullet points, fine, and make sure it is crisp and simple. Yes? So they say KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Okay? Okay, I don't want to say stupid now. Keep it simple. Fine? Now, yeah, so yeah, make it smart and simple. Absolutely. Hit the nail on the head and we are done with that. Okay? So after this is done, let's take a demo. Okay? Because saying so much things and not showing you how to do it becomes a problem. Now, so this demo permits me to take some things online. Okay. So now let's visit some things online. Okay. So now I'm going to minimize this. This fine. All right. So keep. Let's go there. Now it's time for the demo. So let's try to incorporate all whatever we've said now into this. So first thing, let's look at this. Okay. You know, I tried Googling like most of you will do seminar topics in engineering. So I want to show you something here. So prior to that, somebody, you just listen. So one of you came and said, "See, sir, this is what I found." And I will tell you the point. I wouldn't take his name because he's your colleague. So he came and he said, "Sir, these are the things which I found. Are they good?" Now listen to this. So one of the topics he said was Hive, Hive. Okay. Next is Zigbee technology. Another one is nanorobotics, bionic eye, green cloud. Guys, listen. What is Hive? Okay, you want to talk about big data? So if you say Hive, now I expect you even to discuss something about HQL, Hive query language, and all whatnot. So instead of talking about Hive, you might actually think of something like this: mitigating Hadoop cluster failure, a case study, or something like that. So you have to show me some hands-on section also on that. You might not write the entire script. Take screenshot of whatever you have implemented. Or how about cluster implementation in Hadoop? Okay, or essential what do you call it? Essential commands in Hive in HQL. You see, that's our must-know commands in HQL, a practical approach. So you see, you instead of you giving me a generic thing, right? You try to make it specific, right? And then give me examples. Now I followed most of you and look at what we saw. So let's just see my screen now. So first thing was here it is. 1 minute. 1 minute. I found that. So here we got this. Yeah, 50. Look at this. So 50 seminar topics. Okay. So for ECE students. Now look at it. First one, organic light emitting diode. Second, pale camera. Third, guys, you should know for sure ID section and biometric. Are these trending? What are the new things that you want to talk about? No, sir. See, this is even new one. Okay, I agree. Let's move down. Thermoelectric generator. Okay, design. Okay, no, this is purely embedded based. Let's get to the one which is computer science based, and then you will see. So there is nothing, literally nothing. Innovative, nothing novel about this. So there are some of them. So let's move here. I think I found them. I kept them open here. Yes. So this was on blockchain, right? So blockchain, now scroll down, you see. So he actually wrote here, blockchain challenges and opportunities. Now, if you want to talk about this, blockchain challenges and opportunities, do you have papers to back them up? Now, remember, don't rely only on blogs, because blog, anybody can put out anything there. Remember this technical seminar? We need points, we need facts, we need figures, we need references as well. So whatever you're going to say, if you don't back them up, it becomes your idea, right? So do we have ideas to back this up? Okay. So if you have ideas, then at least we can actually, look into that, right? Now, look here. So these are some of the things which most of you sent to me. Okay. Here, let's look at this. So this guy actually did something. So these are the topics which we saw, right? So comparative analysis of blockchain-based smart control for solar electric exchanges, features of blockchain voting a survey, blockchain with the Internet of Things, benefits and challenges. So you see, again, most of these things, they are not converging at all. It's seminar topics in engineering, a Google search, right? Seminar topics in computer in CSC, seminar topics for CSC. Okay. So they say hot seminar topics, it seems. Okay. No, sir, biochip technology, sir. Nobody has done on this, and I'm going to work on this and things like that. Now you see for yourself. Okay. And then you now be able to understand what I'm saying. Now, what do you want to tell me about surveillance camera control system? What exactly are you going to talk about? Secure symmetric authentication for RFID. Now, this involves implementation. So are you going to talk about something or a new technology, or you're just going to replicate whatever someone has done, right? Now look at this. These are all CSE based. Bluetooth technology is a technical seminar. What, man? How old is this technology? Right? So if you say no, sir, okay, I'm going to talk about plastic solar cell technology. Okay. See, just look here. Sensor. These are too broad. Okay. So again, they call it latest technology. Now, free space optic technology. What exactly do you mean? You cannot cover anything. You're talking of bionic eyes. That is true. But what exactly can you narrow this down? Be specific. So E-bombs are no electromagnetic bomb. It's a kind of a weapon. Okay, we got that. But first thing, do this have a social implication? Is it catchy? Okay. Now, do you have references to back them up? Right? Do you have research papers that validate this? How about infographics? Is this narrowed down? What are you going to address? Are you going to talk about challenges? Are you going to talk about implementation? Are you going to talk about algorithms? Are you going to make this sound so vague? Okay. Now look at these ones. Okay. So you see here, honeypots. I knew about this when I was in high school only. Okay. So it attracts hackers that monitors this. Instead of this now, why don't you talk about, okay, maybe like what are the security challenges, okay, in setting up honeypots? Okay. So what are the security challenges? Because definitely hackers also knows how to actually identify a honeypot, okay, and actually how to bypass that, not identify, how to bypass that. So why don't we look at it from that implication? Now, the instance here is, see, for me, I love talking about anything related to machine learning and deep learning. So don't forget, don't feel bad if my seminar is little biased, okay? So whatever I'm going to tell you now, because if you see, there is no project, technically speaking, there is no project, no PhD thesis, no master's thesis that doesn't revolve around machine learning and deep learning. I can't stress this enough. Because if you see, the proliferation of data and availability of high-end devices has actually made this, okay, has generated lots of data sets, okay, lots and lots. That it's very difficult now. You study data mining, right? It's very difficult to infer, make meaningful inference from that without using what machine learning approaches. So because of that, I want to give you an idea of things which I thought I suggested to some of you. Okay, you are my students, some of you to look into. Now, so there are challenges. So I started with this keyword, challenges in medical imaging. Now, so follow me as I show you the demo. So now these are, novel challenges that are available. Okay, see, it's called actually grandchallenge.org and fast challenges. Now, if you see here, auto implants, breast cancer segmentation, and some stuff. Now, I want to talk to you from a genetic perspective. Okay, so based on my limited research experience, I can tell you that there are numerous challenges when you talk about medical imaging. First thing is availability of data sets. Now, it's very difficult for somebody to give out biometric information of a patient. Now, see, just imagine you went to the hospital and you tested COVID positive. I'm a research scholar. I approach the hospital and say, please give me all the the data sets of people that has COVID. Do you think the hospital will give it to me? Obviously not. But I want to carry out a research survey, knowing the prognosis, like how is it now? Diagnosis is done. Prognosis is determining the nature of the spread of that disease. So how is this still spreading despite the lockdown and despite strict things that the government has put in place? I want to understand that demography. So it's very difficult for me to get access to those highly classified information. But in the other cases, it's very easy. Anything that has to do with medical, definitely availability of data set is very, very, very difficult. Another thing is this. Most of the data sets you get will be imbalanced. So you get more samples of COVID patients versus non-COVID. More samples of non-COVID patients versus COVID patients. Let's say you're giving me a medical x-ray. In that x-ray, chest x-ray, most of the samples are of non-COVID versus COVID. So if I take that and feed it into my algorithm, okay, use my CNN and things like that, majority of the time it will be biased towards normal versus what? The person who has the COVID. So this is a challenge. So how do we actually mitigate this? I don't expect you to do a PhD work on that. You should take an existing paper that addresses this challenge, showing you lots of graphics, okay, infographics, and lots of things, in which lots of approaches they use in overcoming this. Now, one of the ways to overcome this data imbalance problem is what we call data augmentation. That also we can do. And another challenge here is what we call generalizability, in which a model that was trained on a particular data set fails to generalize on another one. Yes, so these are the grand challenges. And another thing here is this, okay? So when we deploy this in real time, most of the data sets we use for our training are usually cleaned and in one format. But in the real world, it's highly heterogeneous. So you might actually look at this, okay, make deep learning approaches, okay, to what? To handling noisy data sets. Okay, so deep learning approaches. So in that deep learning approaches, you're going to talk about so many of them. So that's why now looking at this, let me give you an instance. So I saw something here which is so interesting. Okay, it's called auto implant. Now look here. I open this. Follow me. Now, this is what, now if you look here, is a challenge that is happening. But look at this. What did you notice here? You see a skull, right? Yes, a broken skull. Now we want to design another thing here, okay? Kind of, we want to patch this skull, right? Yes, with some, maybe some material. But this material should be able to fit into the skull, right? Just imagine somebody going on a facial transplant, right? And at the end of the day, he doesn't have a nose, or his eye, one of eyes is covered, or he has a squint eye or something. That doesn't look nice. So what is this challenge all about? If you look here, you might not be able to understand. Now, I opened this up and I came here. Now, look here. So the motivation is what we call what? Cranioplasty. So this is a surgical process where the skull caused by brain tumor surgery or trauma is repaired using a cranial implant. Now, which must fit precisely against the borders of the skull. Okay? Okay? Now, as a replacement of the removed cranial bone. Now, the design of this cranial implant is a challenging task and involves several parts. So, you now know what it is. And remember, you are not a medical professional, yes? So, you are not, neither are you a surgeon, okay? But how are you going to apply machine learning approaches to this? So, you go down here and you see papers. So one paper is called an online platform for automatic skull detect, restoration, and cranial implant. This is 2020 paper. Now, another one is called Towards the Automation of Cranial Implant Design in Cranioplasty. Another one, you see several papers here. And this is a master's thesis, which I want most of you to look into. So this is deep learning for cranial defect reconstruction. Hence, your seminar topic might look like this: deep learning approaches for cranial defect restoration. Did you get that now? So you see how we move from a generic approach, which was cranioplasty, right, to a specific approach of what? Applying only deep learning approaches for that. So obviously, this might start with CNN, 3D network, and all whatnot. And make sure you have infographics and you have statistics available to back this up. Okay, so this is a simple case study. Now, another thing that interests me, okay, was what we call intracranial hemorrhage, okay, detection. Now, hemorrhage is what? So now don't get confused with RSNA. RSNA stands for Radiological Society of North America. Okay, so the thing here is intracranial hemorrhage detection. So what is hemorrhage? What is it actually? So hemorrhage in the head, or we call it intracranial hemorrhage, is a relatively common condition that has caused many that has many causes ranging from trauma, stroke, aneurysm, vascular misformation, and whatever. So what is it actually? There is blood seepage in the brain. That's it. So intraparenchymal hemorrhage is blood that is located completely within the brain itself. So you see here, there are different types of this now. So what is hemorrhage? There is blood leakage in the brain, and most times we call it internal bleeding. If this is not addressed, somebody dies off. Yes? So this now, you see why this is a challenge. Okay, it has a certain impact, obviously. It is interesting to talk about, yes. And you have infographics to back it up through an MRI, yes. And you know that there are different types that exist, yes. So how do you identify them? How do you handle misclassifications? How do you ensure that this actually is what presenting? Okay, the audience, I'm telling you, will be completely glued to listen to you, because this affects more than maybe I think 5 in every person who has a fall will either have internal bleeding or something like that. Yes, intracranial, whatever. I mean, they might not have an open skull, okay, but most of the time people die because of internal bleeding. So you see here, from here now, let's do a Google search on what? I don't know what it is, so you can do intracranial hemorrhage, because you need paper to back this up, right? And you see all the stuff. So the first one is called what? Intraparenchymal, right? Inside the brain. Interventricular, inside the ventricle. Subcranicoid, between the arachnoid and the pia mater. And then this is subdural, which is between the dura and the arachnoid, and then the epidural, which is between the dura and the skull. So you see the infographics there. Directly, if you don't know where to start, do a Google search on intracranial hemorrhage. Now you can see one paper here, expert level detection of acute intracranial hemorrhage, right? So detection and classification of intracranial hemorrhage, and these are all 2020 papers. Can you see that? One is already cited by 53, and even 2021 papers are there. So you get here now, and this is it. Detection and classification of intracranial hemorrhage on CT images using a novel deep learning algorithm. Now, I don't want you to replicate this entirely. Like, you should not say the same thing over and over. So you might say here, deep learning approaches to intracranial hemorrhage detection from CT images. Okay? So you try to fine-tune the topic a bit. Okay? So you see this, right? And most times what happens now, they say, no, sir, I found the paper and I was unable to download it. Thanks to Sci-Hub. Okay. So what you do, you copy it, see my Sci-Hub, just go there, Control V, enter, right? So voila, this is the paper. Okay. So the paper has come and it is from Nature. And that reminds me, whenever you choose papers, please choose quality papers, quality journals. Your guide will be in a position to help you. And I will do a video shortly on how you identify top-notch journals, quality papers. Okay, anything from Nature, obviously, no doubt. From ACM, no doubt. Transaction papers, no doubt. Fine. So, and then if it is from Williamson's, okay. It's from Taylor and Francis, okay. So, and then from Springer, but there are various versions. Okay. Now, anything that International Journal of blah, 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 predatory journals, we try to avoid them. I'll make a video shortly on how you identify predatory journals, right? So, this is the paper, right? And then you look here. You see, all they do, ensure you understand this before you come here and misguide us. Because when you're talking of anything that has to do with life, ensure you understand the whole thing incompletely. I mean, in total. Okay. Implicit understanding is very, very essential. Else, don't get into anything medical, right? So you have seen the stuff and you have seen the result and things like that, and possibly go to the notebooks. So there are notebooks available on Kaggle. So it will make sense if you actually see here. Now, let me get back here now. In this intracranial thing, you see, if you scroll down, you can see here, right? Intracranial hemorrhage detection on Kaggle. So if you go on Kaggle, all right, so you open this, I will show you. Now you come here, you can actually see code. There is code here, right? So see code, this person used ResNet, this used Inception Net. Okay, this person used, I don't know, RSN Internet, whatever. Now, let me look at this code and see whether he actually implemented something, right? So now, this was just submitted 1 month ago. Okay, it's loading. So this is what I want you to do because it is a technical seminar. So it will make sense if you are able to back this up also and show how this also was done by looking at the code, and this is the code and the analysis. So if you find difficult to understand the code, you can get back to me, right? Okay, and try to understand, you know, the matrices which they use to check the accuracy of the model, right? And everything is here. You feel free to go through it, try to understand the ROC curve and all whatnot. Yes. So, and at the end of the day, you will have enough points. Now, see here, this is the ROC curve. Okay. So, and then with a particular area of under the curve or something, and look at the size of this image. Sorry, the size of the data set. This is 425 GB. Obviously, you can. I wouldn't encourage you to download this and run it on a system, CPU. So you might as well run this on Kaggle itself. Okay, Kaggle has a notebook also. I mean, it has a notebook. In the next video, I will show you how to actually run most of the stuff on Kaggle. So you don't need to download this in the system and then run it on your stuff unless you have a powerful GPU and you have space available. Okay. So having said all this now, I believe that you now know how to choose a seminar topic. So let's summarize. Now, how did we start? We started by first thing, looking at what a technical seminar is, right? Yes. So what is it, why and when, and how do you actually do this, right? So we looked into what exactly? We looked into what? Some of the essential tips, right? That will help you when presenting a technical seminar. Yes. And then we went and backed it up with a demo. And then I'm done with this. Okay. So I found some useful papers, okay, which I referred to while I was presenting this, right? So one is presenting a successful technical seminar, and another one is writing and speaking on the technology professions. Okay. A practical guide. Yeah. So finally, I want to thank you for watching, and guys, please do subscribe. So feel free to, you know, put your thoughts in the comments section below. All right. And then share this with your friends. Right. And I will see you in the next class.